Alright, if you made it through my disassembly video, I'm going to reassemble the replica, but first I'm going to help you troubleshoot a couple of things. One, you're going to want to check your air seal. To do that, just take your piston and your cylinder, put your finger over the nozzle, and just run it through. So I have zero resistance to the piston right now, so my air seal is bad. And that can be a huge source of trouble for consistency and for range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pick, and I'm going to take the O-ring out. It just needs to be replaced. Pop it off. Set it aside. I'm going to clean up the piston head a little bit. Doesn't need that much oil on it or grease or, lubricant. Nice and clean. Do not buy an O-ring from Evic or Amped or whoever. Go to McMaster Car and buy, what are these? Buy these O-rings. These are basically the same thing, and I don't have the part number. All right, well, go to McMaster Car and buy O-rings. I got like 100 of these at the time, and I haven't even gone through half of them. I just give them away now to anyone who asks. But go to McMaster Car. It's almost, when I bought them, it was the same price as the like G&G green O-rings that they're selling, the pair. But we're going to retest. All I did was replace the O-ring, and now I have a ton of resistance. I cannot collapse the piston with my finger right there. So that's troubleshoot number one. Troubleshoot number two. Your gear is messed up. So go ahead and look at your gears. Check your teeth. If you're going to replace your Aries gears, I have SHS 13-to-1s. Buy a set. If you do that, you have to buy two more things. You have to buy the magnet right here. Do not drill out the magnet from the old gear set. That damages the magnet. You might mess it up. Instead, go and buy a neodymium magnet. Use Gorilla Glue clear, not brown, because brown expands. Drop it in the hole where the pickup tooth is. That's this tooth right here, since it reaches the piston first. Drop it in, let it sit overnight. Let it sit 2 days. Try and clamp it if you have clamps. Clamp it. Then you're going to have to buy this delayer chip. You have to buy this delayer chip, or else your timing for your tappet plate right here is going to be off. I'm sure there's a video on tappet plate timing. I'm not going to go over it right now. 3. This guy right here, I think the stock nozzle has an O-ring, so just check to make sure your nozzle isn't dirty. And mine, look at that, mine is really dirty. Just clean that up. Nothing special about it. There is an O-ring in there. You don't have to lube it or anything. You can lube this nozzle right here if you want. Easy. So now, if you endured the pain of that 4 minutes of me talking about the upgrades I did to the inside of this gun, now we're just going to put it back together. O-ring replaced. I'm going to check this air seal real quick. That air seal's still good before I box it up. Make sure your anti-reversal latch is in. Press your, what is this, sector, spur, bevel. Make sure your bevel gear is pushed down on top of it. You can rotate it backwards a little bit if you like. Make sure that your motor plate screw plate is in. So this right here, this is what your screws thread into for your M4 grip. So if you're messing around with your gun, make sure that this is in there. It just drops right in. This is your threaded assembly for the piston guide, the spring guide, spring guide. You'll notice there's a notch here. Oh, shoot. Anyway. Where was I? Notch here and notch here. You need those notches facing into the gearbox. You see where there's this little raised ridge right here? You got to line it up with that ridge. You will feel it click into place. You can turn it. It literally locks and clicks into place right here. So your little ridge here lines up with the slot there. If you don't do that, your gearbox won't close. And if it does close, your spring guide will not thread in. So go ahead, take this, put it back on. Oh, clean it off first. Wow. Clean off excess lube. Make sure this moves forward and backwards just fine. I am going to take a dab of lube real quick and just pop it on there. Pop it on, bring this forward, pop it in. All right. Real quick, if you're wondering where you want to grease on this, grease your track here for the piston, grease your track here on both sides for the piston and for your tappet plate that travels right here. Take a dollop of grease on your inner cylinder there and then just wipe it around. Take a little bit of silicone and put it, because this nozzle has an O-ring, just put it in there and just kind of swirl it around and you'll be fine. And then grease the gears however you want. But drop this in, line the piston up, make sure it slides on the rack a little bit. Again, clean up any excess grease that you see since you're in there. I like to make sure my sector gear is aligned so that the pickup tooth is almost in the 3 o'clock position. Again, I check that my reversal latch is there. I check that my trigger with its spring is in right here, and then I come to my tappet plate and I check to make sure the spring is on, and it's not. So I'm going to take a pick. Again, all these tools can be had at Harbor Freight or wherever for probably 30 to 40 bucks, or your dad's garage. But I put the tappet spring on, it's good. Again, I just check this alignment here. I check my track for the wires. I want to make sure no wires got crimped or there's no damage or anything like that. I take one last look because this is my gun. And I'm going to make sure there's no fairy dust or anything. Just going to move that again to make sure I don't clip anything. Check your shims if you have any. Make sure that they're over the line or over the hole. Drop it in like so. So if you got to this part and you're asking yourself, hey, grout fit, how do I know that I put the gearbox back together? Easy. Take your nozzle and just push on it. That'll tell you the spring is in there. Everything's working great. Test your trigger. Do you hear it click? If it clicks, great. Check your anti-reversal latch. Just look down in there. Again, this is not a shimming or gear installation video, so if you wanted better detail, you're gonna have to find another video. But if you look down inside of there, you should be able to see your anti-reversal latch on up against the bevel gear there. Okay? And then you just take this ring and you just see if you can turn it. Don't go crazy, just kind of give it a little bit of a wobble. You're good, done, that's it. So I can be sure that I put my gearbox back together. Everything will probably work. Now we're gonna reinstall everything. All right, take your ambidextrous selector switch, and it does not matter which side goes through where. Drop it in, secure it. You'll feel it's clamped down. It's square shaped. You can't mess it up. You know, it has to line up. Drop it in. Put it down. You don't have to tighten it super tight, just make sure it spins freely, and it does, so I'm good. I'm just gonna check again and make sure everything looks fine. Now you need the big gears, all right? The paddle ambidextrous gear switch goes on this side, and it goes on this side because this magnet is read by this magnetic sensor. There's something to physics. It's what is it? Gaussian effect or whatever. It's a Hall meter, not like a Hall monitor. Sorry there. The Hall effect. It's something. It's been so many years, but basically physics happens, and this magnet is read by this little black magnet sensor on there. Line it up just like this, so that your line is perpendicular with this notch here. I'm gonna line it up like that, flip it over, take this guy, line up your arrow, like so. So this arrow is lined up with that arrow. There's two arrows there. Let's see. Line that up. Make sure you're perpendicular on both sides. Looks like we are. As close as it's gonna get to perfection. Take your gearbox and grab your lower receiver. Make sure your two fingers hold this and that, or else it'll fall out. Run all your wires through, so you need to run your wires into your grip and through the back of the stock. And then just start putting it in. Oh, come on. Have a flathead on standby, because if you're in safe, your trigger isn't going to want to move. So you're going to have to put a flathead in there, and you're going to want to take the safety off so that your trigger has some wiggle room. There it is, and it just slots and drops right in. Easy. Take your flathead now, put it on your selector switch, and just run it through all three positions. Make sure it's parallel when it lines up. There we go. So that's what I'm looking for, is I'm looking to make sure that it's lined up and safe. Okay, we're going to point it in full auto. Okay, it's lined up for full auto. So we're good. I want to see that this is straight across. And it's straight across for both sides. Go ahead. Tuck your wires back in and close the stock if it makes it easier for you. Take your rear body pin now. Where did mine go? You don't have to go super tight with this, but you do have to get a good feel for how tight it's going to be. Don't over torque anything. This is all Chinesium, and you're going to have to take it apart. So just real gently take your two screwdrivers and twist one this way. I'm going to twist the other Allen key this way, just gently. That's it, I'm done. So I felt it snug. I don't need to go anymore. Now I'm going to insert my body pin. And I'm going to drive the body pin with the smooth side this way. I'm going to drive the body pin that way. Why do I do that? I do that because my body pins go through this way on the front here and on the rear here. So I'm going to take that, drop it in, nice and easy. If you bought the punch set, congrats. You're not going to hit your gun 30 times with a hammer. You just need to strike it through once. If you didn't buy the punch set, I guess just beat the heck out of your receiver, but easy. Just going to tap it in, 2 taps, drives it in, done. So check for wiggle, no wiggle. So, well, not like crazy play or anything. It should wiggle a little bit, and we're good with that. Come back to the front of your replica. Grab your 2 crazy screws that I told you should have a big fat flathead for. Now remember, when you put this together, when you put your hop-up feed tube into your replica, you want the feed tube to face this way, to face forward. So you see how, let's see, try and grab it like this. So you see how it's facing forward? Here, I'll know right now if you can see it facing forward. All right, I know that you can see, kind of, that this is facing forward for the tube. It has to face forward. Go ahead, place it gently, and then drive your 2 flathead screws in there. Come on, there that one is. Do not over tighten this. I made a troubleshooting video on what happens when you over tighten this. If you want to know what happens, go watch that video. But basically you're hot feed tube is going to split, and then you're going to get feeding issues and inconsistencies and things like that. All right, little pin. Remember earlier I said don't lose your detente pin. You can order these. I don't know where. I don't. I'm not going to buy a replacement for the other one. Bummer. But this little guy's got to be in there. So if you dropped it or lost it, ooh, dang, dude, you're gonna wanna grab a little buddy and, I don't know, search the carpet. Make sure that you have it pointing the right way. For consistency's sake, I'm gonna put this in the safe position. Selector switch in. I want to drop my spring guide in. So take it, reverse thread it, turn it to the left until you hear a little click, and then, come on. Oh, God. That's why I hate this. All right. If you go to put this back in, I had to put so much force pushing down on this. I had to set it on the floor between my feet and push down with the screwdriver to get this to like go on. So I've taken this apart and put it back together a lot of times. And I don't know what it is, but the threading, it's just not there anymore. Like I look at it, the threads look fine, but it's almost like they got thinner and they just don't want to grab anything. So you really got to push down. I mean, I have what, an M130 spring in here. So I mean, it's tough to fit it too, but oh my gosh. Where are we? Where are we in the video? What am I doing? Oh, we're putting the gun together. All right, so if you get your spring guide in, it pretty much stops once you screw it. You don't need to snug it up or anything. Take your little paddle tabs, find your screws, and you're gonna put the paddle tabs back on. Again, there is a positive here and negative here. Okay, doesn't matter how you fit this in here, you just need to make sure it goes in and sits flush. That's pretty much the most important part. You may have to loosen up wires to get it to twist the way you want. Kind of depends on where you're going with it. Real quick, if you bought this as a backpack gun or a rapid deploy pistol or whatever you're thinking of, you cannot have the stock folded like this inside of a backpack. You just cannot. The reason I say that is because these two metal pins right here that push down and meet these guys, if you leave your battery plugged into this replica and a piece of metal contacts these two pins, piece of metal, a zipper, you've got a really cool fancy pen that your great grandma gave you, I don't know. If it's metal and it touches here and you have an 11-1, something big, it's going to short circuit and it could catch fire, it could ruin the battery, could do a number of things. I wouldn't risk it. So if you bought this as a backpack gun and you're going to fold it up and you're, quick deploy it somewhere, don't. It's just not worth it. I don't know why they had this design. I think the A&K, I think the Masada from years ago, I thought I read somewhere, and it could be a different replica. They did it better where it's like sleeves into itself for a folding stock. But this is probably the worst design they could have gone with, is having an open kind of wiring system like this and then just advertising it as something that can fit in a backpack. What a joke. What a bad idea. I mean, it's cool, dude. I mean, it'll be cool till it burns, but whatever. So this is done. Just click that into place. And, all right, motor plate. We're going to take the grip. I'm going to just kind of clean it a little bit grease. All right, last big thing is the ambidextrous paddle. Slip it in. You're going to drive the knurl pin through this direction. Get a fat punch if you have one. A thick boy. And tap it in. Take your upper receiver, slide it on, bring your paddle off to the side. Come on. This paddle likes to get hung up. It's probably gonna want to scratch a bit. That's fine. Unless you don't want that, then it's not fine. But I don't mind a little bit. There we go. It's my Titan 3000 milliamp 11.1. I know everyone's gonna want to be like, we gotta see a gun shoot or else it's a POS. You didn't do it right. Okay, so if you're 16 and you're sitting in your basement and you're thinking grout fit, wow, you were a bad tech. Well, I got big news for you, dude. This thing is gonna shoot. But before you buy a battery like this, you have to understand this buffer tube is short. It's not a standard AR buffer tube, so don't make the mistake I made and get a huge honkin' 11.1 volt battery to put in the buffer tube, because you will never be able to collapse your stock all the way. That being said, drop it in there, plug it in, and here it is. This is for the money. And it works, put back together the correct way. Battery didn't blow up, gun didn't blow up. If you're that one guy who asked me to make these videos, congratulations. I hope you sleep well, I hope your gun works. If you weren't that guy, and you're some other guy who's desperate to buy one of these or fix one of these, post something in the comments, let me know. If you have any questions, I know almost, I want to say everything about this replica. I'm sure there's some nerd who's gonna hit me with a couple of technicalities, but I've had this for a long time. It's Gucci'd out. This is a loud monster of a gun, but it's, you know, if you bought this, it can be turned into something great. You cannot HPA it, as far as I'm aware, because of the gearbox design. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop talking. Just post in the comments if you have a question. I'll answer it. I'll get around to it. I will post my build list. I will timestamp everything, and I will get back to anyone. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know anything. But thanks for getting through a video this long.